presentation, and assessment. The approach for this virtual competition explores solo performances. For this year, the categories in the competition are Jamaican Creative Folk Dance, Caribbean Folk Dance, Nation Folk Dance, Praise Dance, Modern Contemporary Dance, Jazz Dance, Jamaican Popular Dance, Other Popular Dance, Combined Popular Dance. Also for this year, we have two new categories, Dance Improvisation and Dance on Camera. Good luck. The JCBC is yet another example of the arts industry coming together to support its school. We encourage all dancers to take advantage of the opportunities arising from the current crisis. The more chances to dance, the better. The team at JCBC thanks dance artists of all ages for their resilience and dedication to their craft, despite the immense barriers that have been thrown. Dance is practiced in many forms and for many reasons, including social, educational, political, and therapeutic purposes. In recognizing the importance of dance as a concert art, where dance is practiced in a performance space and that it is offered for some sort of audience or spectator appreciation, the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission has designed a virtual competition program of activities. This encompasses both online dance, presentation, and assessment. The approach for this virtual competition explores solo performances. For this year, the categories in the competition are Jamaican Creative Folk Dance, Caribbean Folk Dance, Nation Folk Dance, Praise Dance, Modern Contemporary Dance, Jazz Dance, Jamaican Popular Dance, Other Popular Dance, Combined Popular Dance. Also for this year, we have two new categories, Dance Improvisation and Dance on Camera. Good luck. The JCBC is yet another example of the arts industry coming together to support its school. We encourage all dancers to take advantage of the opportunities arising from the current crisis. The more chances to dance, the better. The team at JCBC thanks dance artists of all ages for their resilience and dedication to their craft, despite the immense barriers that have been thrown in our way. Dance is practiced in many forms and for many reasons, including social, educational, political, and therapeutic purposes. In recognizing the importance of dance as a concert art, where dance is practiced in a performance space and that it is offered for some sort of audience or spectator appreciation, the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission has designed a virtual competition program of activities. This encompasses both online dance, presentation, and assessment. The approach for this virtual competition explores solo performances. For this year, the categories in the competition are Jamaican Creative Folk Dance, Caribbean Folk Dance, Nation Folk Dance, Praise Dance, Modern Contemporary Dance, Jazz Dance, Jamaican Popular Dance, Other Popular Dance, Combined Popular Dance. Also for this year, we have two new categories, Dance Improvisation and Dance on Camera. Good luck. The JCBC is yet another example of the arts industry coming together to support its school. We encourage all dancers to take advantage of the opportunities arising from the current crisis. The more chances to dance, the better. The team at JCBC thanks dance artists of all ages for their resilience and dedication to their craft, despite the immense barriers that have been thrown in our way.
Here. So, you need to turn on your cameras. All the movers in the house, I want you to turn on your cameras. All the movers in the house. Yes, turn on your, thank you,
including educational, political, and therapeutic purposes. In recognizing the importance of dance as a concert art, where dance is practiced in a performance space and that it is offered for some sort of audience or spectator appreciation, the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission has designed a virtual competition program of activities. This encompasses both online dance, presentation, and assessment. The approach for this virtual competition explores solo performances. For this year, the categories in the competition are Jamaican Creative.
So welcome once again. We were here Tuesday gone when we were looking at the principles of dance. Now that we are here, listen to this. The artist is nothing without the gift, but the gift is nothing without work. Welcome to our workshop. Operative word, work. So for those persons who love to keep their cameras off, I'm going to ask you to turn them on. So all the movers in the house, turn on your cameras. I'm going to shift my focus and look. Yes, I'm seeing some persons. I'm seeing Miss Blake from St. James. Good, and I'm seeing some others. Welcome to our workshop. I'm going to ask Miss Blake from St. James to do her what I call local welcome. I know you have your pastor with you from St. James, but I'm going to ask you to big up the others that are here. Miss Blake?
Good afternoon, everyone. There is no pastor from St. James as yet. I'm still looking out for my people. However, from our side of the island to you, I want to say thank you for joining us for our day 2, session 2 of dance workshop. We know the challenges that exist with the pandemic and having to do virtual class, and to be taking time out of your busy schedule means a lot to us. So welcome, welcome. I know Mr. Earl has a lot of exciting things in store for us. It's going to be a very, very interesting season of performing arts, but nevertheless, we are JCDC, we are creative, and with you, our partners, we know it's gonna work, and we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna produce very good pieces nevertheless. So welcome, and we thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for your dedication and continued passion, and we look forward to great things.
Thank you so much, Miss Blake. Artists, all around, welcome. We're going straight into our work session. I am stressing the word work because at work, we're gonna work. Yeah, it's either we go hard or we go home. So there is this lady with a ton load of energy. Her name is Miss Patterson, Michelle Patterson, and she will be our presenter or facilitator or a mover or driver or force for this dance making workshop. So I want you to just send up some emojis. Yes, putting your hands together as we make our presenter welcome, Miss Michelle Patterson. I'm not seeing those emojis. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Hi, how are you doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Yes, I'm excited today to do this workshop with you, this dance making workshop, as the JCDC continues to develop the art and the craft of all the teachers, you know, who enter the competition every year. And it doesn't matter where we are in the journey. Some of us are at the beginning stage. Some of us are at the more advanced stage. There's always somewhere else to go. And so for today, we're going to be going through some exciting activities to help us to get better at the whole process of the whole experience of the whole craft and art of dance making. No, it does make sense because the competition, or rather the JCDC Dance Festival, culminates really in a dance making competition. So everything that you do in all the workshops that you do throughout the course of the year, well, you know, we haven't done much because of COVID in the last year, but everything that you do in the process, it culminates with what? You're presenting a dance on stage. And so what we're here to do today is to look at how we can refine that experience. Yes, because all of us have challenges one way or another. And so that's what we're going to do here today. Now, what is exciting? You did a workshop on Tuesday looking at the elements of dance. And so basically what I'm going to ask you to do, I want you to just go back in your memory bank, bring that information forward because you're going to need it for today's activity. All right, so welcome guys. I want to see cameras open because as Mr. Earl said, it's a workshop, a work with comfort work and a job with comfort job. Well, we might be doing some of that too, depending on what the activities are, you know, looking at dynamic qualities and stuff. So I'm actually happy to see some cameras open. I'd like to see some more because you are going to be involved in the experience. And I want to see people working as if you're in a live space. So here we go. The dance is not the music, guys. The dance is not the music. So what is it then? All right, I see we have some other music coming from outside. All right, guys, when you're tired? When you're tired? You're not tired? Okay, that's good, that's great. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, Janoy Johnson, Yannick Berlin, and these are two teachers who work in the festival competition. They enter every year, and so it was awesome just to have them be part of the workshop, working in the workshop while you are experiencing what they bring to the table. So I just made a statement. The dance is not the music. Does that make sense to anybody? The dance is not the music. And I want you to, I need one person to respond. You know, I want you to respond in light of what you saw happening a while ago. So there was this big music happening, and then we just saw a lot of movement just happening, just coming out of nowhere. What do you get from that statement? The dance is not the music. Do you agree with me?
Yes, nice.
Yes, can I get a response from somebody online? Anybody? Any brave one? Yes?
Yes, I agree with you.
You can type it. The dance is not the music. Talk to me.
That's
Talk
true.
to me.
The dance is rhythm and expression.
Oh, somebody's actually speaking, but I'm not hearing. Can I get some? Oh, speaking, but I'm. Okay, so I hear somebody says this is what? Adane Walters, I agree. Okay, awesome. Tell me why you agree with this. Tell me why you agree. There's no wrong or right answer here, you know, so that's fine. Because the dance is a movement. Very, very interesting. And this here is actually an awesome response, because what it's going to do, it's going to open up the presentation for today. Yes, the music is not the dance. And what we saw here a while ago was just persons moving in response to the music that came on. And it was a very explosive kind of a music. And we saw a lot of different kinds of movements. And one of the things that we've seen, and I'm speaking now from an adjudicator perspective, yes, and also for workshop perspective, a lot of times what happens at the festival competition is that you see a number of dances where the very beginning of the dance is a lot of things happening, whole heap of movements. And then guess what happens now? Because you start so big, then you have a challenge in terms of going further. So the dance must have a what? Beginning, it must have a middle, and it must have an end. But sometimes what you see actually happening is that the end of the dance ends up at where? The beginning, because as you saw, we are using the music as a main driver for the compositional process. Now, music is something that can inform and inspire the dance, but it shouldn't be the main thing that's doing it. And this is what we see happening a lot. If you ask most teachers, what was the inspiration? It's just the music. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to look at coming right back to the basics of things. What it is that should inform your dance in terms of the process. There's a beginning, there's a middle, and an end. And so the first point for today, we're looking at having a starting point. Your dance must have a starting point. It must have a starting point. And if it has a starting point, it suggests that it's going to go somewhere. So if it has a starting point, it means that you can't have everything at the beginning. So on screen, you're going to see, you should be seeing right now, how to create a dance in 4 stages. We're going to make it very simple. Now, I know a number of persons are saying, we've done this before. We've been doing it for years. However, what we're trying to do for you here today is to what? Refine that process. And so, stage 1, find a starting point. And this starting point is called the stimulus. Now, what is a stimulus? We can read it together. A stimulus or stimuli, which would be the plural, talking about multiple stimulus, can be defined as something that gives you an idea, an inspiration, something that arouses the mind or spirit, or it incites activity. It is a starting point, the beginning of the choreographic process. So basically that's what it is, an inspiration. So something that is going to stimulate, evoke an idea. Now that idea has to be or should be the thing that's going to now inform the dance that you create and where you go from there. Now, there are a number of things that we can use as a what? As a stimuli. All right, so can somebody just hand me, I need a bottle. No, cell phone. Give me a cell phone. Give me a cell phone. Mr. Earl is going to hand me a cell phone. Okay, awesome. Now, I would like everyone has a cell phone, assuming, all right? So this is a cell phone. Now, I have this cell phone in my hand, and this cell phone has a number of variables. It has numbers, it has pictures, it has its physical properties, all of that. Now, this cell phone could become a stimuli, yes, an inspiration, something that evokes an idea. It creates an imagery. Yes, it creates an emotion. It could be that the cell phone represents that relationship that just ended last night. Yes, and so what does it evoke when you look at this cell phone? Now, we have a number of different kinds of stimuli. Yes, coming up on the screen, you're going to see visual. Now, this cell phone could work as a visual stimuli. Yes, pictures, sculptures, objects, patterns, shapes, lines, colors, you name it. And what does it do? It provides freedom for the dance choreographer. Yes, and we can now use it as a starting point for creating the work. All right, let's look at another type. Next slide. Kinesthetic. What do we mean by kinesthetic? How does it move? And kinesthetic stimuli basically is looking at movement itself. It has no communicative purpose. We're not trying to tell a story. All right, so Janoy, Yannick, I want you to just move through the space. All right, we're just moving for moving sake, looking at different kinds of movements that the body is capable of doing. Now try to identify, yes, the different kinds of movements that have been done. Are there body parts that are being utilized differently? Look at the qualities of the body. Look at the kind of energy that is being used. And so they're not trying to tell a story. Yes, they're just moving for moving's sake. No, you can be inspired by this. You could watch somebody on screen doing some movements and you are inspired by just the movement itself, not the story behind the movement, not the music that is being used, if there is music, just the music itself. All right, so what we've looked at so far, we looked at two kinds of stimuli so far. The first one was what? Visual, yes. And now we looked at kinesthetic. How does it move? Movement itself. It's not intended to give a storyline. It's not intended to transmit any given idea, but it has a style. It has a mood. It has a dynamic quality. Some of the things I called out, yes, when they were actually moving. Let's move on to another one. Auditory. 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 This speaks, it says, what do you hear? Music, sound. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys to play a track, just any track. Now we're going for what you hear, not necessarily the words, but the sound. Sound. Listen for the sound. What are you identifying anything in the sound that jumps out at you? Again, not words, but the sound. What emotions, what ideas are being evoked through the sound that you're hearing? It could be the garbage truck passing down the road. Yeah, it could be somebody flushing the toilet and you hear the water sound. It could be the water in the kitchen when the pipe is running. Yeah, it could be the washing machine. These are all different kinds of sounds that we can experiment with. It doesn't have to be recorded music. All right, so we're talking about what? Auditory, sound. Can you bring that slide back up for me? Yes, again, auditory. The choreographer must be aware of the nature of the music. Yes, the accompaniment. And if it complements or conflicts with the dance, sometimes you have a big soundtrack as the accompaniment for your dance. And what happens? We say, or layman term is that it what? It kills the dance because the music is too big and it is not enhancing or contrasting with the movement vocabulary that you have used. All right, it helps to dictate the mood, the style, the length, the phrasing, and the overall form. Now, again, music doesn't have to be recorded only. It could be voice. I am speaking now. There are sound waves that are going out as I speak. You could actually choreograph a dance inspired by the voice of somebody speaking. And those sounds, what is it creating? What imagery is it creating? All right, so we're ready now? All right, so we're gonna listen to a piece of music that's gonna be played. And I want you to tell me, what are you experiencing from that music?
Catch it! Silent! All the names are over!
All right, so my movers in the house, I want you to react. React to the music. Remember, not the words, the sound. What are you hearing in the music?
Anywhere we go, the whole place I ignite. We flare. Girl inna me bed, give me. With that doesn't magnum on me bed. I feel clean like we see from your toe up to your head. Theory of the new thing, everybody says one dead. When you walk past people, we can know.
All right, awesome. Okay, now I hope that person's there on screen that you were hearing, you were listening. And notice I keep stressing, not the words. Yes, because what we want to focus in on, sound, sound. What are you hearing in the sound? Are there rhythms that you're hearing? Yes, is there a tempo that is evoking some idea in you? Is there a quality that you're seeing? Yes, if you look at the dancers that were moving in space, both of them were responding to the same sound, but it was generating what? Different kinds of movements. I saw different movement qualities coming out. I saw different parts of the body being used as a means of responding. Yes, so that's what we talk about with sound. I just want to make that distinction. We're not talking about lyrics. We're talking about what you're hearing in the music, the musicality of that sound. Quickly, let's move on. Tactile. Tactile. What does it feel like? Yes. Feel a piece of material, any object that you can find around you, right where you are. You may have a pen in hand. Again, you may have your cell phone. You may have a book. something, the desk that you may be sitting around, the chair you're sitting on. I want you to take a moment and feel that object. Find something around you to feel. And I want you to tell me, guys, I want somebody to respond now and tell me, what are you feeling? What quality are you feeling when you touch that object? Yes, it could be the pants you have on. It could be the skirt you're wearing. It could be the bed you're sitting on, the bed sheet. Somebody respond for me quickly and tell me, what do you feel? What do you feel when you touch that thing? Remember again, we're looking at what? Stimuli for creating our dance, right? So anyone, anybody?
Miss Ruff.
30 more seconds. Anybody brave? What do you feel? What are you feeling in terms of the stimuli? Yes, I see rough, hard, smooth, beautiful. Guys, write those words down. Write them down for me. Write them down. Rough, hard, smooth, lovely. Now, the question now that you ask yourself, if I were to translate these qualities, what we call these what? Qualities. The quality, what it feels like under the hand. If I were to translate these words, rough, hard, smooth, what would those look like in movement? Yannick, rough. Janoy, smooth. Hard, both of you, hard, 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 smooth. And we could add a few more. Silky, 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 feathery, rugged, sharp, 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 and rest. Are we getting the idea? Are we getting the idea? Yes, so you saw 3 words inspired by what? Tactile stimuli. And out of that, the words evoked some ideas. You actually use your imagination and you saw movements happening. So here we have vocabulary coming out that we could use for our dance that was inspired by a tactile stimuli. And now we go to what? Ideational. No, some of us probably have not heard that word. Basically, what it is, it's something to do with imagery. One word we can get from that bigger word is what? Idea. Something that is mentally seen. So it is not something that you touch. It's not something that you heard. It's not a movement that you saw, as in what? Kinesthetic. It's not something that you saw as in visual. This is now something in the mind. And usually, an ideational stimuli has to do with poetry. It has to do with like photographs. It could be something from a story, a character in a story, something from a poem. So, for example, the hills were alive with the sound of music. That's a form of ideational stimuli. The hills were alive with the sound of music. Now, when you hear these words, are you getting any imagery? Are you getting any ideas? Is it evoking any kind of characters? The hills were alive with the sound of music. The hills were alive with the sound of music. Unearthing, developing, showcasing, and preserving the best of Jamaica's culture. The hills were alive with the sound of music and rest. So what I just did a while ago, guys, is a form of ideational stimuli. Again, it is imagery that is created by text, poetry, You're watching a movie, there's a storyline, there's a character. So it is not something tangible, like you can take it up and touch it. It's something that creates an imagery in your mind. So let's just quickly recap, because we're going to go into an activity now. We're looking at what? The starting point of a dance. We are refining that experience. How do I start the dance? So it doesn't start too big and I have nowhere to go and I get all frustrated because I'm not able to generate the vocabulary that I want to make the dance happen. We must go to the beginning of a starting point. And that starting point is called what? The stimuli. We have 5 kinds of stimuli. We have visual, we have auditory, we have tactile, we have kinesthetic, and the last one we just looked at was what? Ideational. All right, so from here now, we have a couple of activities that we're going to do to help to reinforce. Now, remember what I said at the beginning. Based on the workshop you did on Tuesday, the elements of dance, looking at those principles, we want to now reinforce these elements in the choreographic process. Now, as you looked at Janoy and Yannick moving, I am certain you were able to identify those elements. Number 1, action, the body in action. The body has parts, it does actions, it creates shapes, then it moves in space in doing these actions. Then it moves in different kinds of qualities, different kinds of speed. That would be called what? Dynamics. And finally, body relations. 2 dancers are in the space. They're relating to each other, they're relating to the space, they're relating to themselves. How do we now utilize, engage with these elements in the process of dance making, which now moves us to the next part of our activity? So we looked at what now? First we looked at what? As stimuli. We identified them. Now we're going to look at now, how do we now begin to create movements based on the stimuli that we decided to look at? You saw some movements happening. This takes us now to the place of a motif. So the idea is established. I'm going to now explore to come up with some vocabulary that I think will represent the dance that I'm trying to create. Now remember, we don't want all of the movements at once. We want to come up with some movement. We call them the signature movements that will now represent that dance. So for example, if my dance is about the feel of that skirt from that tactile stimuli and the words that we used, we're now going to have to find some movements that represent that feeling that was evoked from that experience of that skirt. And so what we call that is the motif. It's really that statement, that one movement or that statement that represents the stimuli that we just explored. All right, so the first one, we're going to look at body actions. Body actions, and this comes from what? The elements of dance. Remember, we just recapped them. There are 4. We have body actions, we have body in terms of space, body in terms of dynamics, body in terms of relationships. So what we're going to do now is to take you through some games, choreographic games, that utilizes or identifies or engage with these elements and use this as a means of now what? Developing vocabulary based on the stimuli that we work with. So we're going back now to the cell phone. So everybody, you have a cell phone. Here is the instructions on the screen. I want you to write down a 7-digit cell phone number. Could be yours or somebody else's. 7 digits. All right? 7 digits. Now, in this case, the cell phone was what? The stimuli. The cell phone was the stimuli. So I want you to now write down your 7-digit cell phone number or your mobile number. All right, once you've done that, there is a key, there's a movement key that is on the screen. Yes, if you look on the slide, you see a movement key. Now, each of those numbers from 0 to 9 has a body part represented. Now, this is now bringing in what? The first element of dance, body actions. The body is made up of what? Parts. Each part can do what? actions. So 0 is the head, 1 is the shoulder, 2 elbow, 3 the arm, 4 the torso, 5 hips, 6, what's that last one? The knees, 7 the ankles or the foot, 8 lower level, 9 higher level. All right, so what we see here, these are predominantly what? Body actions. So what we want you to do now, write down your cell phone number on a piece of paper. Yes. Look at the key to see what body part represents each number. And then what the next thing is that you're going to now select the movement or the body part that corresponds to each number in your cell phone number. And I want you to now find movements that represent that number and the body part. So my head, what are some of the movement possibilities with my head? Yes, it is the shoulder. What are some of the movement possibilities with the shoulder? 1 shoulder, 2 shoulder, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes to do it on your own. I'd actually like to see 1 person or 2 persons, if we can get a male and a female, to show us what they came up with. So remember now, you're using your 7-digit cell phone number. There's a corresponding key. For each number, there's a body part that is featured. You're going to now select movements, a movement to represent that number. Yes, so just take a few minutes to explore that. My team in studio, they're working. Yes. 1, yes. So it's 1 movement. Good question, Yannick. 1 movement for each number. 1 movement for each number. All right? So you have 1 more minute. Now, guys, remember now, we want to make it as creative as possible. So explore. If you're sitting in a chair, see the movement in your head. Number 1 is my shoulder. What are some of the possibilities in moving my shoulder? What are some of the ways I can move my shoulder? My knee. How can I utilize my knee? And knee is not a common place that we focus on. How can I utilize my knee? Yes? Remember, I want to see 1 male and 1 female. Yes, I see who this over here. So I see Andre Hines. Yes, Andre, I see you moving. Beautiful. Beautiful. 1 more minute. I see somebody else. Yes. Akeem. Awesome, Akeem. Yes, and Pamela. Beautiful. Thumbs up. All right. 30 more seconds. My team in studio, you have your phrase ready? Remember what we're doing here now, guys. We're moving from what? Stimuli, the starting point, and we're now going to what? From the stimuli, the ideas that are being evoked. In this case, we're using a visual stimuli. We're now going to create a motif, which is used to represent the dance that you are going to create. And that motif will come back in different ways. That's basically what you use to start building the dance, the motif. Are we ready? Give me a thumbs up if we're ready. Yes, awesome. So I see Akeem, the thumbs are just going. So we want to look at Akeem first, and then I want a female. Yes, another female. Now everybody can be working and doing your stuff. Yes, awesome to see that. All right, so Mr. Camera, my camera crew, can you bring Akeem up on screen? And then from Akeem, we're going to go to Pamela and then Andre, and I would like another female. It's nothing long, so let's go. All right, Akeem, here we go. Ready up. Lovely. Awesome. Nice. Let me see some thumbs up for Akeem. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we're moving on to now Pamela. Pamela, you are next. Pamela is next. All right. Hey. Lovely. Pamela, I want to see it one more time because something came across the screen. So can we see it one more time? And here we go. Nice. I think we lost her. Anyway, give it up for Pamela. Give it up for Pamela. All right, can I see one more? I'd like to see one more. Andre, can I see Andre? Let me see your motif that you're building from your visual stimuli, the cell phone, featuring your cell numbers. Here we go. Ah. Lovely, nice, beautiful. Thumbs up for everybody, for all three participants. And I know other persons were working on this, but time would not allow us. Now I'd like to see, of course, but studio people, them have to do some work. So let's look at, we're gonna have them both go at the same time. Let's look at Janoy's motif. Remember the phrase that he has built based on his stimuli to represent the dance that we'll manipulate further to develop into that bigger, larger expression of the dance. So we're going to look at Janoy's, his cell number, and then we're going to look at Yannick's. Here we go. Nice. And let's see Yannick. Oh, Yannick number look like I'm more than 7, so don't. All right, clap them, guys. Awesome. All right, so what this exercise just did, we looked at creating a motif. Now, can you bring that, the PowerPoint presentation, first slide up on what is a motif, just to reinforce it, because I'm not sure some persons actually saw that. I think it should be slide 2. Let me see slide 2 on this. Oh no. Okay. We'll get to it. All right. So are there any questions so far? Now, one of the things I'd like to point out where this is concerned, because it's the beginning of the dance. Yes, that beginning statement. We don't want to be repeating movements. So that's why we notice you got a head, you got a shoulder. Yes, and generally when you're building a motif, you just do that movement one time. All right, so step forward a little bit, guys. We're still observing the social distancing. I want Janoy to do your number, your cell number. Yes, and focus on each movement that you've selected. You're only going to do it once, because remember, it's the beginning of the dance. We don't want to bring everything here and then you have nowhere to what? Develop and go forward. So we start small. Is that writing an essay? That opening sentence that gives you the idea of what the essay is all about, the topic sentence. Now from that, we expand it out into a number of sentences to make up that paragraph. We organize the paragraph into what? So, structures within the essay. So we have 2 paragraphs focusing on that original idea, and then we go further into expanding out the idea. So if we start with the paragraph at the beginning, we don't have anywhere else to go. So the motif is that statement, that short statement, no more than maybe 4 or 5 movements, maximum 6. That is the signature, the essence of what your dance is all about, based on the stimuli that you engage with earlier on. So let's look at Janoy's cell number. All right, so I kind of counted like 7 movements. There was a little thing at the end there is a transition. All right with that. All right, so were you able to see that breakdown? So it wasn't a lot. We could identify 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 3. Yes? 7. Now from here, we could now develop that into something more expansive. Let's look at Yannick's cell phone number. 7 numbers, miss. All right, lovely. Now I think I figure out why Yannick's looks like it's more than 7. Because she's introducing one of the elements of dance, which is dynamic qualities. And I started doing some shaking things. So it's not that it's more than one movement, it's the quality of the movement. The movement is vibratory. So even though it's one movement, because of the movement quality, it looks like she's doing it several times. All right, awesome. Very good. All right, guys. So is there a question before we move on? Do we understand what a motif is? Do we understand what a motif is? Anybody has a question? This is the opportunity for you to ask a question before we move on to the next activity. So we just looked at using a visual stimuli to generate vocabulary for the start of our dance. Is there a question from anybody about what a motif is? Because that's where we're going to go next. We're going to look at how do we develop the motif that we just established, your cell phone number, and how do we develop that now into generating more vocabulary to build out the dance. Any question about the motif? Is there anybody who has had a challenge in previously when you are, doing your creating your dance or composition, and you reach a roadblock? Yes, you have some challenges because you didn't quite understand the whole thing of a motif. Is there anything that you'd like for me to address here and now as it pertains to the motif? Are you clear as to what it means? Is there a question that you have so we can address it here and now? I see somebody typing. All right, you can put it in the chat at any time. All right, let's go now to the next activity. Yes, to the next activity. Now this one is called body shapes. Now remember, we're looking at what? The elements of dance in the process of composition. And shapes, body shapes, comes under what? Body action in the elements of dance. Now this game is called the symmetrical and asymmetrical game. And we know that shapes are both symmetrical. Show me a symmetrical shape, guys. That means that what? Both sides equal. Yes? And then we have asymmetrical shapes, the opposite of that. So the sides are not equal. Now look at the visual designs that have been created here. So you now could actually create a motif focusing on shapes. Bring the activity on screen. So here's what we're going to ask you to do now. Same thing like we did before. We are now going to create an 8-count phrase of movements. Only 8. A while ago you did 7. You did 7. Yes? Now we're going to create an 8-count phrase of movements, and we're using what? Symmetrical and asymmetrical shapes or lines. Now, which stimuli would that fall under? Think about it, because I want you to make the connections, Think about it. Which stimuli would that fall under while you're working it out? So, think of symmetrical shapes, all sides equal. Asymmetrical shapes, one side of the body doing something totally different in terms of a shape it's assuming, the other is doing something else. Look at the visual designs, the possibilities in playing around with these. So what are you being asked to do? Bring it back on screen. You are going to create an 8-count phrase of movements using only linear or straight lines and symmetrical lines. Yeah, same thing. That's one. And then the next one, so you will only focus on that one. The next one is create an 8-count phrase of movement that only uses curved lines and asymmetrical lines. So we have straight lines, and then we have curved lines, a curved shape or asymmetrical shape. These are all under what? Body action. All right, so let's go, guys. No, 8 counts of 1, 8 counts representing straight lines, symmetrical lines, and then another 8 counts representing curved lines, asymmetrical lines. And again, remember, you just want one movement. 8 counts, just a movement. One movement each for the 8 counts. All right, one movement each. So I'm giving you 1 minute. No, that's not enough. 2 minutes. Notice we haven't started using any music yet, you know, because what we're trying to do is to focus in on the idea, the stimuli. There will be opportunities to use the music as a stimuli, but we're showing you how you can create your dance from a focused, conceptual, ideological space. So my 2 bodies in studio are working, and of course this will take some exploration. So you want to explore and come up with the movement that fits your body the most, that feels more like it. So for example, curve. What is the best curve shape I can assume based on the idea that I'm using it for? How many asymmetrical lines can I create? How creative can I get with it? Yes, how complex can it become? That's what we want. So the exploration is always very important. All right, anybody on screen ready to show me what they've come up with? I see Pamela ready again. What about Talisha? Sorry, I'm probably not seeing so clearly. Miss Plummer, yes, I see you. Yes, Miss Freckleton. Yes, so we're ready now? Beautiful, beautiful. So remember now, 8 count phrase, straight lines, symmetrical lines, and 8 count phrase, curved lines, asymmetrical lines. 30 more seconds. Team in studio ready? All right, nice, lovely, lovely, lovely. All right, here we go. So we're gonna start with the persons on screen. Now what we're gonna do in this instance, all the persons that are focused on screen, I want you to go all at the same time. So you are going to be doing first 8 phrase, your straight line, symmetrical. And then if you were able to do the second one, is that fine. If you weren't able to, we'll go right into that. So we're gonna watch you first and then watch my in-studio presenters. And then we go to the next one. All right, here we go. Ready and rolling in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Clap them, guys. Beautiful. All right. Now, let's see Janoy and Yannick in studio. And is there anyone else on screen? I'm sure I saw somebody else who was looking like they're ready. All right, let's just go Yannick and Janoy. So what we're watching first, were you able to do the two? So we're going to see first the linear, straight line, symmetrical line, motif, phrase, and then we look at the other one. Here we go. And rest. All right, that's the first one. Okay, now let's look at the second one. Now this one we're looking at what? Curved lines, asymmetrical lines. Here we go. and rest. Clap them, guys. Nice. Okay. So, recapping quickly. So, as Shama wrote, a visual stimuli. Was that your response to? That was a response to the question about what kind of stimuli would this be in terms of the body shape. Awesome. So, we looked at the first action, the activity that we did was with the cell phone. That was also visual in terms of how it was used. Now, if we had decided to use a message that came in on the cell phone, yes, and that's a stimuli to create that motif, then that would be an ideational kind of a stimuli. All right, let's move to the next one quickly.
Just to give you a bit of information for those persons that are turning off their cameras, we need to see you at some point in the presentation so that you can receive your certificate of participation. Also, I want you to type your name and the parish that you're from in the chat, right? So we can prepare your certificate of participation. Turn on your camera at some point and type your name and the parish that you are from in the chat. Happy working.
All right, nice. Let's move to the next activity. The next activity in our motif building experience. So we looked at body actions, body shapes. Number 3. What's number 3? Slide 3. So this one, we're looking at what? Dynamics. Now remember, on Tuesday, for those of you who were actually a part of the workshop, you looked at dynamics as an element of dance. Now this third activity looks at what? Dynamics and / relationships. Those are 2 of the elements of dance. All right, so this is called the stimulus game. And we already had looked at a stimuli, but it is culminating in this activity. So here's what you're asked to do. Find 3 different types of stimulus to use for this activity. Now I've recapped it here. Visual, describe the shape. Tactile, what does it feel like? Kinesthetic, how does it move? Auditory, what does it sound like? Ideational, what ideas are driven from the item? So just go in your house, wherever you are, and find 3 items. 3 items. Could be anything. Could be the same cell phone. It could be a pair of shoes. It could be an earring. It could be a piece of music in the background. I want you to find 3 different types of stimuli. And for my people in studio, you're doing the same thing. Same thing. Quickly, just find 3 different types of stimuli. Go to the next. Okay, leave it right there. So what you're asked to do now, once you have your 3 types of stimuli, I would like for you to write down 4 words. 4 words for each of them. To describe each of them in the following ways as you look at the stimuli. Yes? So whatever it is that you chose, the 3 different types that you chose. The water bottle. What do you see? What does it feel like? How does it move? Are you hearing any sounds? What ideas are being evoked when you look at the item? Write down those words. 4 words. 4 words that will describe each of those stimuli that you have in front of you. Guys, you're writing in your mind, eh? All right? Yes? Can I see the objects that persons have selected? Just put them up in the, on yes. Let me see the objects. Show me them, show me them. Awesome. Yes, Marissa. I see a teddy bear. Yes, that look like some what's that look like? Like a spray bottle. I see a bangle. I see a water bottle. I see what looks like a wallet. Yes. Lovely. Awesome. I see a slippers. Good. So we're going good. And guys, make sure that they're all different, you know. Make sure that they're all different kinds of stimuli. All right. So the next step is now write it down. Let me see the pen and paper or the cell phone, typing it in. 4 words to describe. 4 words to describe each of your stimuli. We're not going to do an exploration for all of them. Now, I would like somebody in the chat to put on screen the 4 words that you selected for one of your stimuli. Anybody who's already completed that, show me on screen the 4 words that you wrote down that describes your stimuli. Yes, I see words coming up. 1 word, I see sticky. You have 3 to go. Yes, sticky. Make note. Come on, man. I need to see some more words coming up on in the chat. 4 words: pointed, soft, nice, rough, lovely. Keep going, keep it rolling, fluffy, hard. Yes. Anything else? Soft coming up again. Beautiful, beautiful. Long, black, flexible, rough, fuzzy, smooth, soft, beautiful. All right. Nice, nice, nice. All right, now we're moving on. Just keep it crawling in the chat. So even though we're going to move on because it's for you to recall. The next thing we're going to do here now is we are now going to find movements that will represent those words that you chose. Find movements that will represent those words that you chose. Yes, Marjorie, I see thin. Yes. Find movement, zigzag. Yeah, zigzaggy. Yes. Find movements that will describe, that will represent the words that you just wrote down. In studio, my movers in studio, same thing. Remember now, guys, we're not repeating movements. We're just identifying individual movements and then putting them together. All right, so what I'd like to see now is, can you bring the participants up on screen so that we can see them working together? So we're gonna do this one together, guys. My in-studio movers and you on screen, you're working it out. So you should have at least 4 words, at least 4. I don't expect you to get through all, but at least have 4 words to describe at least one of your 3 stimuli that you chose. 3 objects or items that you chose. All right, so let's go now. Let me see us now working through creating, coming up with these inventive movements to represent the 4 words, your first 4 words that you wrote down. Andre, I don't see you moving, you know. Come on, Andre, man. How are you going to come up with these creative ideas if you're just sitting up in the chair? Yes, man. Let me see you moving. Awesome. Yes, I see Talisha looking through. Plumber, Miss Plumber, looking at her words. As you're thinking, yes, you're thinking it through. The ideas are coming. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, Miss Crawford, Marissa, I see you exploring. Lovely. It's all about exploration, guys. All right, so after we've done that, so we're going to do the first one, the first 4, put it to sit, and then we're going to do the second 4, right? And then after that, I'm just going to randomly select some music. Yes, select some music as accompaniment, and we're just going to throw it out there, and we're going to take the chance to see how that accompaniment would look with your 2 phrases that you have created. Yeah, how is it going to look? And then it's not for you to say, okay, it works. is to determine whether it works, yes or no. All right, so we have the first four. Can I see the first phrase from everybody? In studio, people, you ready? All right, can I see the first phrase? First phrase? Okay, so let me just watch on screen first and then I take in studio. No music yet. All right, so beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First phrase, first motif. Nice. All right, clap them. All right, so let's now see in studio your first motif. All right, lovely, lovely. All right, now can I see your second motif? So this one would now represent one of the other objects that you selected, and based on the 4 words that you wrote down in relation to that object that was your stimuli. Same thing. So let's see now the second motif. Second motif. Are you ready? Going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Motif 2. Beautiful, beautiful, nice. All right, now let's go to studio, my studio team. Let's see your second motif. And rest. Lovely. Clap yourselves, guys. All right, so we're building now. We're building. So we had 1 motif, 4 movements from 4 words. We had a second motif, another 4 movements from another 4 words. What we're going to do now is to combine the 2. So we have motif number 1 and we have motif number 2. So in total, we should have about 8 movements thereabout. All right, we're not looking at how we're going to transition from one to the next. We're just going to perform them as they are. However, I am going to ask for a piece of music, preferably something on a soundtrack, nothing with words. Yes? All right, with a variety of sounds. So anything? Now, guys, you're going to take 10 seconds and listen to the music, actually more than 10, because what I want you to do now is, while you're listening to that music, you are going to put your 2 motifs together. Yes? We're going to put your 2 motifs together. I like the mango, soft, oval, small, hairy. Lovely. So we're going to put the 2 motifs together. Are we ready with the music? All right, so play the music. We're not changing anything. We're going to see how the music can fit with our 2 motifs as we combine them. Same thing in studio, guys. Can you give me some more volume on the music? All right, so now don't get lost in the music. Remember, keep your original idea in your mind. Those 4 movements for one, 4 movements for the other. Yes? How do you now put them together using this music as some kind of accompaniment, enhancement? Lovely, I see some movements happening. Remember now, don't change your movements, because you have music, Don't change your movements. Remember, the movements that's the driver, not the music in this instance. It's just there to help to communicate those movements. Thirty more seconds. Lovely, lovely. Andre actually got up. Isn't that awesome? It's the music, you know. Are we ready? Run it through one more time, guys. One more time. One more time. Your two motifs. Motif 1, motif 2. Put it all together. Yes? And then we're going to watch the performances. Remember also, don't try not to repeat the movements. Try not to repeat the movements yet, because we're still in the beginning stages. We repeat when we're now going to manipulate the motif to develop more movements. Lovely. All right. Can you take the move music down and shade for me? We're going to come back to it. Now, are we ready? I'd like to see all my choreographers that are on screen. It is so interesting how everybody wake up now and I music up clear. Yes, yes. But you know what is awesome is that you already established that base. And so you're not just going in straight in from the music. You already have something. The music eventually comes in, all right? So I want to see all my choreographers on screen who are ready. Yes, my choreographers on screen, and you're going to be joining my choreographers here in studio. We're all starting together, right? We're all starting together. We're going at the same time. So we originally had 2 separate motifs. Where we are at now, we have now combined them just as they are. And we've added the element of music. In this case, it's for accompaniment. Yes, and of course, as you develop the dance now, you know, the music is bringing its own ideas. So how do you now partner that into the work? Yes, that's where we go next. All right, here we go. Cue music. Music ready. We're rolling in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Action. Everybody together, both in studio and on screen. All right, I see people still moving. I don't understand all them phrases so long though, you know. Or we're just repeating it. Okay, good, yes. Awesome, we just repeat it. That was a good save. And rest. Lovely, clap yourselves, guys. Awesome, let me see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 plus the people that I'm not seeing. Beautiful, and then my team in studio. Awesome. Guys, great job. Great job. So guess what? You kind of have the beginnings of your dance, you know. Yes, you have the beginnings of your dance. And notice that we're not talking about technique yet, you know. We're not talking about point and flex and all them things yet. Because you bring those elements to refine. What we're doing here now is what? Generating movements from a stimuli. And you know when you do it this way, your movements look more creative. They're more inventive. They're more personal to you, and the kids are better able to relate because it's not over their heads. So when you come to festival now, you know, and we sit at that adjudicator's table and we see this work that you're presenting, we're wow, because we're seeing so much creativity coming through, because it's very clear that you started with an idea, you had a starting point, the beginning, not the end coming at the beginning, not the middle at the beginning. You started at the beginning with an idea, and we can see you working through that idea to find inventive movements, and then you move to the next level. All right? So beautiful, guys. Clap yourself. We have a couple more activities to do as we come to the end of this, but we have an advertisement to roll.
We are welcoming only solo presentations. Entrants in culinary arts, dance, drama, music, and speech must record their live presentation on an appropriate and reliable device. The presentations must flow naturally with no enhanced procedures. Doctoring or airbrushing will not be permitted. Once the video has been found to be digitally enhanced, the work will be disqualified. A carefully selected backdrop must be used where there are no disturbances to the recording of the video, which must be done under sufficient lighting. Ensure pure sound and stable capturing of content whilst utilizing landscape mode. Kindly engage a suitable video editing program to remove any prelude or postlude where necessary. Here are some tips to help guide your recording. Use plenty of light. Lighting makes a huge difference in the quality of a finished professional video, so make it one of your top priorities during filming. The sun is one of the best light sources for video. If you're filming in natural light, do your best to get your footage in the morning or evening. If you're filming indoors, you will need to be more intentional about the types of lights you use and where you place them. Use a clean background. Be deliberate about the background you use for filming. One easy way to get a professional look for your video is to use a solid colored background. Prioritize crisp, clear audio. Your audio quality is actually more important than your professional video quality. A fuzzy, indistinct audio is usually enough to make the viewing of the presentation unsettling. Avoid shaky footage. Shaky footage will make any professional video look like a home video. So try not to hold your camera at all if you can help it. Instead, use a tripod or set your camera on a sturdy surface. Use your device the right way. You can use a phone, tablet, laptop to capture professional video. For example, use the camera on the back of your phone. Record in landscape mode. That is horizontal instead of vertical. This will give you footage that looks good on large devices, not just phone screens. Choose a good video editing program. Good video editing software can help you turn your raw footage into something great. There are some simpler tools like Wave Video, Camtasia, or iMovie. More professional options include Final Cut Pro and Adobe Premiere Pro. Now that your video is shot and ready, here's how you send it to us. You can send it to us using JCDC's online portal upload or via our YouTube upload link. Visit our website for details. You can also drop it off at any of our JCDC parish offices island-wide for office-assisted upload. What are you waiting for? Enter now. Are you planning to?
All right, guys, welcome back. So you got a little 2-minute break to refresh yourselves. All right, now we're taking it home. So far, again, recapping, just trying to reinforce the point of what we're doing here today. We're looking at establishing a starting point for your dance. And why is that? A lot of times we see that person start out very big, a lot of movements. Sometimes there's enough movement in a dance to make 2 or 3 more dances. And you get frustrated because you have all of this vocabulary at the beginning and then you get stuck, you don't know where to go with it. As opposed to starting with the smaller parts, again, likening it to writing an essay. You have an idea for your essay. You brainstorm some ideas. You brainstorm some things that you could write about. So the day at the beach, you brainstorm. What are some of the experiences you have at the beach? Whether on the way to the beach, at the beach, coming from the beach, the night before the beach, all of these things. You think about it, but you don't put everything in the essay. You have to make some selections. So what we're doing here now is deciding, based on the stimuli, what we want to really focus on in creating this dance as we're writing the essay. Then you now decide to find some movements, find some words to create that opening statement, that the essence of your dance. the signature movements, that statement that encapsulates the very thing that you're focusing on the dance. And you create that very basic, simple phrase. Now we're moving to the next stage. We're now going to look at how do we generate more vocabulary, because the dance can't just begin in, middle, and end with one statement. Yes, but we've established that, established foundation. Now we have to build. Simple way. And like I said, for the persons who are experienced, sometimes we need to go right back to that point to kind of refresh ourselves, rejuvenate our creative juices so we can come up with more. Because what happens sometimes is that we end up with 10 entries at festival. And the truth is, if you sit back and look at them yourself, you realize that after dance number 3, everything else looks the same. You know why? You kind of run out of ideas. You kind of run out of ideas. So what we're trying to help you to do here now is start small, working conceptually, and allow the concept to drive you all the way through to the end of the dance. So that idea is the motivation. And how many different ways can I express this idea? This brings us to the motif. Now, we actually did it in reverse. We did the explorations first for you to experience it, and now we're looking at the definition. So, stage number 3, use your stimuli to make a motif. We start the journey already. And just to give you the formal definition, what is a motif? It can be a single movement or a movement phrase. Yes, for beginner choreographers, short phrases are often more helpful as they provide greater scope for development. The motif contains the essence of the dance. It's a dominant feature that is repeated. In order for the audience to remember your dance, guys, there has to be elements that are repeated. It can't be just 600 movement. Like I take my eyes off for 30 seconds and when I come back, I'm totally lost because there's nothing that is recurring. Repetition is important for the memory. So when people leave the theater, they must stop talking about the dance. You know why? There were elements that were repeated and it causes you to remember. And even for your own sake, for your children that you're working with, if you're giving them new and more and more new movements, it's like they have difficulty remembering the dance. But if they repeat it, like when they're in school learning the tables and stuff, they have to repeat in order for it to register. So that's what the motif is. Now, what are we doing? We are now going to look at the motif that was established, which says what? The essence of your work. Yes, the essence of the work. It introduces the dance. And then once you establish that motif, now what we're going to do? We are now going to build on that motif. We're building on that motif. So that's what we're doing here now. Now, there are a number of ways to what we call manipulate the motif. So we have those phrases. You have 2 sections, 2 sets to choose from actually. Yes? We have those phrases. We need to move on with them now. So there are ways to what we call manipulate the motif. And there are a number of frameworks that have been established. One that we're going to use today looks at 16 ways. 16 ways to manipulate a motif. Now, we're not going to go through all 16 of them. We don't have time. But what we're doing is giving you the tools. So there are 16 ways that you can take that first motif that you established, manipulate it to generate more movement. Isn't that awesome? So what it means is that you don't have to go scratch your head and go try to find a whole new set of movements from somewhere else. No, the same motif you established in the beginning. We're going to give you some tools now. How do I manipulate this established motif to generate more movement? So, number 1, repetition. You take that motif you established, that first statement, and you repeat it exactly the same. This is the simplest form, exactly as it is. So, my in-studio people, go back to any of your two, whether it was your cell phone, yes, and the same thing for persons on screen. Recall, maybe the last one you just did, it's in the fore of your mind, yeah? So, anyone you want to choose, take one of the sequences that you just did, not sequences, the phrases you just did, the motifs you just established, and you're going to repeat it exactly as you did it. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Repeat it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. Rolling. Same motif. Repeat it exactly. Don't change directions. Don't change levels. Don't change anything. You just repeat it. So the first 5 movements, and then you repeat. Now that creates another 5 movements. So now instead of having only 5 movements for the beginning of your dance, you have 10. How did you come to that 10? You repeated the first motif that you established. Yes, that's the people working. Yes, your 5 movements, repeating them as they are. Lovely. All right, can you bring up the slide again? 16 ways. All right, so we looked at 1, repetition. Okay, number 2, a little bit more complex. Yes, it's called a retrograde. Simply put, we're going to perform it backwards. So how does that look? We start at the end of the phrase, and then we're going to follow it back through space, like a movie that is rewinding. All right, that's called a retrograde. So right now you have 10 movements, or 8. You had the original motif, then you did a repetition, you created another 5 movements, so you got to 10. Now we're moving on to now. How do we now take that same phrase, not the one that you added, the same original phrase, and retrograde it? Do it backwards. All right, so let me give you an example in studio, even if you want a little bit of help. So, John, I would like for you to retrograde any of your sequences. Retrograde your sequence. Remember, a retrograde is what? Doing it what? Backwards. So what was that? The last movement now becomes what? The first, and the second to last. So everything is reversing, rewinding. Okay, watch Janoy on screen while you're working through. So Janoy is doing a retrograde as a manipulation of your motif. Lovely. Clap him now. All right. Now, here is what I want Janoy to do for me again. Because I want you to see now the original phrase, and I want to see the retrograde version. And you'll realize it's going to look different because you're doing what? You're doing it from back to front. However, I can still connect with it as an audience because there is some familiarity. Because all it is that I've done it backward, but it's still the same movements. It just takes on new life and new form. So Janoy, come forward a little bit. I want you to watch him do his original phrase and then go right into the retrograde. All right. Now, Yannick, did you work out your retrograde? So join Janoy on this one. So you're going to do the same thing. You're doing the original phrase and then you're going to do the retrograde. All right. And the tape rolling. Watch guys while you're working through. Watch them and roll. Original phrase coming through. And then now we're moving into the retrograde. All right, clap them guys. Now, the retrograde is very interesting elements, yes? Notice how things are beginning to look a little bit different. And it's one of the more complex ways of manipulating a motif. But we're still presenting it because some of you are willing to take the challenge. Now, if you notice, this is making the choreographic process a little bit easier in some ways because you don't have to go out there and try to find more movements. You're using what is already established and adding a manipulative device to that original sequence to now create another sequence, another phrase. Now the phrase is put together, now builds that first section of your dance, that first sequence. And some interesting variables. Any question on the retrograde? Anybody has a question? Anybody has a question? So we looked at repetition as one way of manipulating your motif. We look at retrograde. All right. Anybody wants to show me their retrograde? Anybody wants to show me? I'd like to see anybody, one person, two persons. All right, lovely. Put them on screen. This is awesome, guys. Awesome. I'd love to see you guys take that challenge. Absolutely. Because like I said, retrograding is not easy. And sometimes we don't even get it right, you know, because is it really retrograding or am I, you know? All right, so let's see it. We're going in 5, 4, 3. So sorry, guys. So I want to see first your retrograde version, manipulation. And then I want to see you go back to doing the original with the retrograde added to it. So the first one now is your retrograde. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Clap them, guys. Nice. All right, now, so let's now take your original motif and then now take your retrograded motif as the manipulated device. Ready? Same person, so others can join them. Same persons. Are we ready? So remember, you do the two phrases together now. The original into the retrograde. And roll. Yes, Pamela, work it through. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Lovely, lovely. Clap yourselves. All right, one last one. One last one. Can you take the challenge of original motif? Yes, guys. Original motif. Then we do manipulation number 1, which is what? Repeating that motif exactly as you established it. And then now we move into the retrograde as another manipulated device and see what that looks like. So we have motif 1 into motif number 2 into motif number 3. Here we go. Yes, I have to give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes to do this. Original motif, second motif, third motif. Yes? See how much vocabulary we're building, guys? A lot of vocabulary. But it's not monotonous and it's not erratic and people don't get overwhelmed because there's a lot of movements that they can't relate to. Because even though you're doing it differently each time, I can still come back to the original. There's some that are still familiar. All right, so giving you 2 minutes to work through original, manipulation number 1, repetition, manipulation number 2, retrograde. Now, I'm going to allow you to take some liberties, right? To connect the 3 things. So, insert between motif number 1 and motif number 2, insert some transitional steps, locomotor steps, a run, a roll, a crawl, any movement that will help you to transition from the first motif to the second motif, and then you do the same thing from the second motif, the repetition, to the retrograde. You can repeat the same transitional steps so that we see some form of fluency and it's not beginning to take you through space, which is an element of dance. Everybody clear on that? If you're not clear, just put the question in the chat, I'll address it. All right, so we're adding transitions. Motif 1. How do I connect motif 1 to motif number 2? And then how do I connect motif number 2 to motif number 3? Line up some music for me, yeah? Line up some music for me. Yes, that's fine, that's fine. Don't put it on yet. I want them to kind of focus in on those transitions. Yes, I see people working, awesome. Guys, the only way to get into it, is to explore. It's not a right and wrong here. It's just an exploration to get the creative juices flowing. And keep that inventiveness at the top of the list. How inventive can I be in my creation? The only way to achieve that is to work from the concept and the idea, as opposed to just borrowing movements from places. Not that you can't do that, but you really want to get as creative as you can. We're showing you ways to do this. So notice how your dance is building. We started from the basic, just a stimuli. Then we moved into bringing that stimuli to life. What would that thing look like in movements? That's our motif. Now we're looking at how we're going to develop that motif now into the bigger dance. Yeah, you're a bit late and you missed a lot, but you still have some things to enjoy, all right? So it's awesome that you're still joining us. Lovely. All right, we're ready? We're getting there? Yes. Nice, nice. Yes. I like that, Mr. Mackenzie. I see you working. All right. So we have 3 motifs. 3 motifs. 1, adding repetition as a manipulation. Adding retrograding as a manipulation. Are we ready? My in-studio. You're ready? All right, we're ready. It's a work in progress, guys. A work in progress. All right. So can we see what you have come up with? Let's see what you've come up with. So I am going to start first on screen, or for sake of time, let's see everybody working together on this at the same time. And then we're going to take it one more. We're going to do one more, just one more type of manipulation. Now, what we will do is, as I said, there are 16 of them. There's 16 of them. I will have this information accessible for you so that the fullness of my presentation, it can be sent to you, the JCDC, at the parish office, right? So you can contact the parish office. They should be able to send you a soft copy. So even though we don't get you to go through the whole 16 of them this evening, impossible, but you will have it to reference for your future works, for the, the competition that's coming up, digital competition, still choreography. You still need to use the elements. You still need to engage with these devices. All right, so let's see you now. Ready? Rolling. I am now supposed to see at least 15 movements with the transitional steps included. So bring them up on screen as many as we can. So we're working both in studio and on screen. And we're rolling in 5, 4. We don't start yet, Ma. Oh, you're practicing. We're not start yet. Let's all start together, yeah? And rolling in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And roll. Beautiful. And we should be on the tail end of the retrograding now. All right. And rest. Beautiful. Oh, sorry. Who is it? Christian is still working. Lovely. Clap yourselves, guys. Awesome. All right. Here's the big challenge now. Here's the big challenge. We have about 10 minutes left. Yeah, 10 minutes. So I want to add just one more manipulative device. Yes, one more. Because we kind of We're kind of at the beginning of our choreography, you know. Kind of at the beginning of our choreography, the first section actually, in terms of how much movements we have already, because we just created more, adding the manipulated devices. So can you bring back on screen the listing of manipulative devices? We're looking at how to manipulate a motif. There are 16 ways. And the purpose of this is to generate more vocabulary and to keep the essence of the idea present throughout the dance. So we're now going to do inversion. So we have repetition, retrograde, inversion. We have size, tempo, rhythm. All right, we have quality, changing the quality. We have instrumentation, perform the movement with a different body part. So if it was the elbow doing the movement, how do I use my foot to do that same movement? We also use force as a means to manipulate. Change the type of force that you use. So if I did it this way first, when I change and add a different kind of force, it becomes, does it take the movement to another level? Yes, it does. Change of background, and I don't mean like a screen, using the bodies in the space as a background. So for example, if I had 5 dancers over here in the original motif, I'll change the bodies to a different position and maybe only have one person here doing that same movement. I've changed the background. Yes, so on and so forth. And then let's go quickly. Let's look at the next 6. Staging. Perform it at a different place on the stage. So instead of doing it downstage right, I take the same phrase and I do it upstage left. It takes on a whole different face, but it's still what? The same movement. Then we have embellishment, ornamentation. What can I add? Tangibly bring in to the space in doing the movement. So the example, I add little loops or jig-jags occurring along the path of the movement. So for example, Jonoy, can you travel from that corner to this corner over here? Yes, now while he's moving, I may have little ornaments that are on the stage. Those ornaments are going to create a relationship with the movement to make it look different. It is setting up another visual idea in your mind as an audience, but it's still the original movement, just taking on new life. And then we have what? Change of planes or levels. So I did this movement here. This is the high level. What would that look like on the floor, Janoy? Yannick, what would that look like on the floor? And mid-level, what would that look like? Okay, stay where you are, stay. Now notice, same movement. I am at the high level. Janoy is at the low level, mid-level, and Yannick is at the low level. See what that did? It added what? Another dimension. Yes? Number 14, additive. While I'm doing the original motif, I'm simultaneously executing another kind of movement. So do your original motif. Let me just switch it. So do your motif, Yannick. Watch, guys. Janoy, do some jumps, any jump, while she's doing it. And rest. Do you notice the contrast it created? Original motif, adding the jumps, brings in another dimension. And then, which number are we at? 15. Let's go to 15. 15. Yes? Fragmentation. And this simply means using only a part of the motif, any part. So, the motif in your mind that you just created. When you're going to repeat it this time, you only probably do the last 4 movements, or the first 4 movements, or 2 movements in the middle. You've fragmented that movement. You could also have a different set of persons on the stage. One set doing the original as it is, another 2 dancers doing a portion of it, and you may have a soloist doing one other aspect of it. So you see all the elements you're bringing together. It's still the same original motif, but you've added another dimension to it. And finally, number 16, combination. A combination basically is combining any of the first 15 in any ways, any shape, any form. Combining any of the above so that they can happen at the same time. All right? No, that's a little bit more complex, takes a little bit more time. So those are, in a nutshell, we ran through those 16 ways to manipulate a motif. Last activity, because time is against us. We have 5 minutes, or 3 minutes rather. Can we now add some music? We'll have to add the music, you know, guys. We wouldn't love if we add the music. So let's add the music. So we're going to take original motif, repetition motif, retrograde motif, and any other from the list that we just gave. You choose one. So we should see 4. All right?
Expand.
4. Any one of you choosing. Fragmentation, probably the easy one for you to add right here, so no. Yes? Or levels. Yes? So choose one, I don't choose it for you. So now while you're doing that, we're gonna play some music. The music in this case is not necessarily a stimuli. It's being used as an accompaniment, as an embellishment, as an enhancement. All right, so here we go. This is the last activity, tail end. And we're going to end it big and large. All right, so we have some basic drum, and then you can use it as you choose. So let's work. Motif 1, motif 2, 3, and number 4 of your own choosing. Combining everything together, using your transitional steps. Giving you 2 minutes to work it out. How is the tempo of the music? How is the rhythm informing how you execute those movements? And you could vary the timing and all of those things. That's for another workshop. Guys, try to record yourselves doing the sequences so you can look back at it for future reference. All right, I'm giving you 1 more minute. Yes, Christian, I see you working. Awesome. Yes, Marissa, nice. And that person who is Sam, can call you by name. How is my in-studio team doing? Ready? So we should actually see the original motif with 3 manipulations. All right, 3 manipulations. All right, I'm giving you 10 more seconds. Wherever you are in it, that's fine. All right, and take a pause. We're going to do it now fully. Yes? Everybody all together? Take the track from the top. Find your starting position. In studio team, yeah man, we're doing it all together. We're going in 5. Can you give me a little bit? Yeah, give me a little bit on the sound, yes? Ready? 5. Hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and roll. All together, everybody. Yes. and rest. Thank you guys so much. Clap yourselves. Come on, guys. Awesome job. Awesome. And it's a work in progress. We're not done. We could go on and on. Just engaging with the 16 ways to manipulate. I have to bring it to a close now, but I really thank you guys for being here. I hope you gained some knowledge from this. I hope you found it useful, and we're hoping to see you now utilizing these tools. What we're giving you guys is just tools to make the process better. Thanks once again. Clap my in-studio presenters. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And over to Mr. Earl.
And thank you so much. Come on,
You're
put your hands
most welcome.
together. Let me see the emojis going up. Let me see the hearts going up.
Thank
yes,
you, guys.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Let us thank the supporting dancers for facilitating this activity. Now, dancers, teachers, students, do you have any question that you would want to ask of Ms. Patterson? Any burning question that you may have? You have been choreographing in the past and you had some challenges, yes? Can you just state some of those challenges? We are here to guide you through the process. What are you thinking about? How can we help you? I'm seeing some new faces. I'm seeing a music teacher moving. Yes, I will not point any fingers, but welcome to the process. If you have any new teacher, just put new in the chat and I'll know that you are there. Yes, we will make this presentation available to you. It will be sent to your parish office, so contact the parish office. If they don't have it, it means Mr. Earl alive, right? So I will ensure that I honor my commitment to forward the information to your parish office. Good, any question? I'm seeing a new, yes. Any question, any question?
Hello?
Yes, go right ahead.
Hi, Jan Harrison Cousins from Jopa St. Thomas.
Yes,
Hi.
Hi, sorry I couldn't get in till late, but I managed to pick up everything that you've done. It was fantastic. I even had my little goddaughter here who is 1.5, and she was joining in too as well, taking the movements in. So thank you very much. It was definitely a good workshop. I wish I had caught more of it.
Yes, but you can go on the JCDC website, on the YouTube channel, and you can watch it from beginning to end. So the information is there for you.
Yes, yes, thank you. The next workshop, so we have to attend all the dance workshops to receive a certificate.
You will get a certificate of participation based on the workshop that you attended. So a part of the requirement is that you type your name and the parish that you're from, good, in the chat. Also, yes, when I look at the video, I must see your face. I'm going to look at the recording and I must see your face.
You see my face.
If you haven't done all of that, all you need to do is send me a 1-paragraph reflection about the experience. Good. My name is patrick.earl@jcdc.gov.jm. Someone will type it in the chat for you. So 3 ways of receiving a certificate of participation. You must type your name and the parish that you're from in the chat. Second, you must open your camera at some point in the presentation. And thirdly, just email me a 1-paragraph, your reflection on the activity. Good? Bless you so much.
So I can participate in the other workshops. Are they all the same? Are the dance workshops all the same?
No. So for example, tomorrow we have another workshop, good, starting at 10 to 1. Now that is a workshop. You're going to put on your full black and you're coming to dance. So we're not going to talk about any content. We're going to dance, we're going to move, you're going to sweat. You haven't been dancing in a long while. So we're going to move. We're going to have 3 sessions. The first one, modern. The second one, creative folk. And the third one, popular, right? You're going to have a 15 minutes break between, but come ready to dance. You can give the Zoom information to your student, yeah? But you're not going to allow 4 students to be in the same room. Good? Ensure that we are maintaining the protocols. So teachers, for tomorrow's session, you can give the Zoom link information to your students. We want them to move again. Good, so invite them, give them the link, it's free. Yeah, give it to them so they can experience the breath and the spirit of the dance. Good?
Any more questions?
Thank you.
You're most welcome. I'm seeing someone agreeing with me. Bless you. Any other question? I know that you have some questions that you don't want to ask, but guess what? We are going to come off of YouTube, right? So that we can do some housekeeping matters. Good? So I know that you're trying to be on your best behavior, bless your heart, but we're going to stop streaming live so that you can ask some burning questions. So don't worry.
And if you have any other, in terms of just the different things that we looked at today, yeah? Stimuli, motif, and questions that deal with what we do next. You know, any area you have in any challenges, because I know we all have challenges as choreographers at some point in time. And so there may be that one thing that you're just not able to just address it and address it effectively. So any question of that nature, go right on ahead.
I'm carry on, okay. I'm waiting for the questions. So everything was crystal clear. Oh, I'm seeing Pamela, you have a question?
Sorry, I have a question. I didn't realize. Oh, Pamela, you're going on? Go on, Pamela.
Okay, thanks. The reverse movement.
Retrograde.
Yeah, retrograde. Thank you. That one I am trying, but I wonder how can it be done, like to let it look a little different, even though it is the same movement in reverse. It is really a difficult thing to perform. And it really...
Well, guess what? The difference is not you trying to make it look different. It is going to look different simply because you're doing it in reverse. So that's the difference that's happening. It's not you trying to make it look different, you know. The same movement. So Janoy, can you join me? So the same movement, yes? So Janoy, do a movement, just do the movement.
Let me see, really.
Going forward, yes? So watch Janoy, take something from your phrase. Okay.
Yes.
2,
Retrograde
3, and 4. That's the original.
All right.
Now. He's reversing the order.
From what, the last movement?
From the last movement is going to be done first, and then the next and the next. So watch him now. That's the last movement being done first. Yes. Go to the next one. Yes. Second to last being done second. Yes. You see it now? Are you seeing it now?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you don't try to make it look different. The only thing you're going to do is to change the ordering of it, and it will naturally look different. Yes, does that help? Did that help you?
Yes, it did.
And this one, yeah, go ahead.
It was like I was thinking, how do I do it in reverse to get it? So that was one of the things. I was thinking, like, if you go up, you go down instead. So I was thinking that way. But now I see.
That's another kind.
Yes.
That's inversion. That's inversion. That's inversion.
Okay.
That's another kind of manipulation. All right.
So actually you are thinking and you're on the right track.
Lovely.
All right. So
all right.
Let me thank you all for participating in this workshop. Bless you as we come off live. Thank you so much for those persons that are watching us overseas. I know you're enjoying the process too. God bless you, and see you tomorrow. Yes, where we will do some folk and some modern and some dance.